The Australian gymnasts come from a land down under, but forgive waltzing Matilda for her swagger these days. Led by superstar Alana Slater, the Aussies rule the top rung of the Commonwealth ladder, have for 4 years. Their confidence over the top.
It's a given that we're expected to win. I don't want it to be some chance, some wild stab in the dark.
Talk about waving a red flag in Canada's face. Twice this country's team has been the champion in Edmonton and Auckland. Can Kate Richardson help them swing on a star in Manchester?
Reputation is only as good as you used to be. So, you know, Australia may have the bravado and the reputation, and they certainly have beautiful gymnastics, but it always comes down to who's best on the day.
It is indeed the old adage in gymnastics that on any given day anything can happen. That may well be the case at GMAX as the women begin competition in the team final. But Stella, the American coach Peggy Liddick is at the helm for the Australians. They come in here as the defending Commonwealth champions and full of bravado.
Yes, but you cannot argue with their gymnastics. Australia on paper has the highest start values of anyone in the competition. Therefore, they're doing the most difficult routines. And at the end of the day, the team that does the bigger tricks are going to reap the biggest rewards. But they have to hit 3 for 3 on every event.
Meantime, the Canadians have undergone massive changes in terms of their personnel, and they begin this meet in the most precarious of positions.
Yes, Canada is in a very difficult situation. Beam is the most stressful event of the entire competition, and to start it, it can be a make or break. But if they hit solidly, they can build on that for the rest of the meet.
Let's not forget about the English. They are the silver medalists from Kuala Lumpur, and on their side they have Beth Tweddle, who won a European Championship medal, as well as 5,000 Mancunians. The scene on the threshold of GMAX just moments before the final. Tickets at a premium with another full house. For Kate Richardson's sister Tessa, parents Charlie and Sarah and her grandmother Ann find a seat front row to watch the Canadian team enter the field of competition and their star deliver a critical beam routine in the first rotation.
As I mentioned earlier, Scott, beam is a stressful event to start, but everybody has stayed on the event up until this point, and if anybody can handle the pressure, it's this young lady. She opens with a beautiful layout, step out, gorgeous lines, nails it. This tends to be a common leap pass nowadays with the new coach. She's going to pick up a 0.2 in bonus on that. Kate is about to perform a difficult skill, and it's difficult because the gymnast is required to change direction in midair. Nicely done. Sets up for her dismount with a beautiful step out 2-foot double back dismount. Too many steps on the landing.
9.125 for Kate Richardson. Her major competition in the individual all-around will be 18-year-old Alana Slater of Australia, 4th at the World Championships on this, the floor exercise.
Alana just opened with an absolutely gorgeous triple twist, nails the landing. She moves into her second pass, a 2.5 layout rebound. She gets a 0.2 for that pass. Alana's opted to use Moulin Rouge as her music, and it's really great style. It allows her to dance and really perform on floor. Setting up for her last pass, beautiful double pike, she puts it in.
9.575, silver medalist all around from the last Commonwealth Games in Malaysia, also part of the gold medal team. Here is the Canadian champion, 16-year-old Danielle Hicks of Oshawa.
Danielle does a really great layout, first flight pass. What I've noticed is Danielle does not have a lot of international experience, but she's taken control of this event, which I was so impressed about.
Battling back problems through the national championships back in May.
Danielle setting up for her dismount. She chooses to do double back handspring into a 2.5 in combination, step on the landing.
Solid 8.725 for Danielle Hicks on the beam. She's coached by 1980 Olympic champion Elena Davidova at Gemini Gymnastics in Oshawa. First rotation, a matter of survival for Canada. They stay on the beam and will build from 3rd place with Australia and England ahead. More gymnastics later, but up next, Mike Nolan on day 1 of the decathlon. Welcome back to our coverage of the 17th Commonwealth Games. The Earl and Countess of Wessex close at hand as England's Beth Tweddle competes in the team final, her vault in rotation 2.
Beth is going to perform a front pike with a half twist. Good block off the surface, but she splits her legs at the top of her rotation.
17-year-old born in Johannesburg, South Africa, now competes for England and has medaled at the European Championship level, that on the uneven bars.
Beth places herself great on the board. It seems that she's a little arched in the back on entry, therefore she has to make up with it by splitting her legs.
Score for Beth Tweddle in England, a 9 on the vault, keeps them rolling and in second place. Meantime, Canada's on the floor exercise. Here's Kate Richardson.
It was a beautiful sky-high double Arabian front, except she took a step out of bounds, which will incur a 1/10 deduction. Kate's a beautiful mover, and she's setting up for her second pass, which is a round off, whip back, immediate, back handspring, double twist. She takes another step out of bounds. Scott, this stage in the game, it's very important that these girls stay in bounds because they can't keep giving up 10th by 10th by 10th.
First international competition for Kate following back surgery, out 6 months after the last World Championships. Those in Ghent, Belgium. She was 16th all around.
Kate's got super great choreography. She makes everything look so easy. Beautiful dancer. That was a nice combination, so she'll be able to perhaps get one of those 10th back. Setting up for a last pass. Puts in a beautiful double pike, gorgeous landing.
Judges make her pay for being out of bounds. Normally one of her best events. Kate manages only an 8.825. England continues to roll on the vault. Here's Katie Lennon.
She's doing front pike half, the exact same vault that her teammate Beth Tweddle did.
Katie, a 17-year-old from Surrey. And the English counting on scoring on this event in the team final.
She comes onto the table in a great position for a quick block and a crisp, accurate turn. But her shoulders down a little bit too long makes her take a step back on her landing.
Good score, however, for Katie Lennon, 9.05 on the vault. To the youngest member of the Canadian team at the Commonwealth Games, 15-year-old Kylie Stone from Calgary, Alberta.
Kylie's one young and powerful gymnast. Look at the muscles on her back. Amazing. She opens with a very nice D turn. That's a double turn with her leg in a horizontal position. She opens with a beautiful full and back in the tucked position.
Kylie competes every event for Canada in this team final. She's an all-arounder.
In women's gymnastics, they have the opportunity to choose their own music, and we've seen that Kylie has opted to take something with a really powerful beat and some techno because she's very powerful. Beautiful Arabian double front. Generally, that's a pass that gymnasts open with, but Kylie does it in her second pass.
Won the Wild Rose Invitational this year in Edmonton, Alberta, defeating some top-flight Russian gymnasts in the process.
Setting up for her last pass. Whip back, 2 back handsprings, beautiful double pike. Can't ask for a better routine.
Represents the Stampede City Gymnastics Club, 9.125 for Kylie Stone on the floor exercise. So halfway through, it's Australia pulling away in defense of their title. Great on the vault, but Canada 9/10 back of second and England. That would be a gold medal. Back in Manchester, and the crowd whipped up at GMEX, 5,000 strong for the top 2 teams, England and Australia. Canada's in there too. Here's Beth Tweddle of the English uneven bar. She won a bronze medal at the European Championships in Greece this year on this apparatus.
Beth is super amazing on this event. She's great to watch. She actually spent 8 weeks out of commission recovering from an ankle injury, so she was able to hone in her skills on this very event. She's got great form. She keeps her ankles absolutely locked together. Setting up for a huge release. Markelov, absolutely sky high and gorgeous. One giant to a half in, half out, plants the dismount, great routine.
Definitely world class, 9-4-7-5 for the English. Vanessa Meloche now competes for Canada on the vault.
Vanessa's going to do a front pike with a half twist out. She has great placement on the surface, except she splits her leg on entry and then splits on her half turn out. I'd like to see her put more emphasis in trying to keep her legs together.
17-year-old from Longueuil, Quebec. 9-1-5 is a solid score on that apparatus for Canada as they keep pace. Now to the uneven bars where the Australians are there. And this is Alexandra Croak, the national champion.
Alex is absolutely great on this event. She hits absolutely every single handstand totally precisely, which makes it so much easier for her to connect into another skill. She pops up to the high bar, which is a requirement for the gymnast in this competition. Setting up for her dismount, Arabian double front, step on the landing with a great routine.
Native of Sydney. And a great 9-4 as the Australians roll along. Canada trying to make up ground on the English. On the vault, Kate Richardson trying to recover from her floor exercise.
Kate does a full-on pike back off. Looks like she was a little bit short of that full-on onto the surface.
That's a brand new vault for Kate Richardson. Women only have to do one vault in the team competition. They have to do two in the individual all-around.
Kate leads on to the vault. She's got great placement of her feet on the beatboard. As you notice, she's a little bit short of the full twist, but she makes up for it in the salto.
First time vault for Kate Richardson, and that's a great score considering. 9-2-5 as the Canadians move up. The demanding and brilliant head coach of Team Australia, Peggy Liddick, wants to take care of business and goes to her anchor, that being Alana Slater, on the uneven bars, one of her best events.
Alana mounts with a jump to handstand with a half turn. This has become a popular skill because it's a great way to turn around, and it gets a 0.1 in bonus. Super high Jaeger release move. The girls are required to move from high bar to low bar in their bar routine. Beautiful, beautiful Ginger. Keeps her ankles absolutely glued together. Alana setting up for a dismount with a giant full into it. Full and back out, nails her landing.
Australia's captain proving to be the class of this field at GMAX. 9-5 on the uneven bars. Australia has all but locked up a second consecutive team gold, but for England's coach Amanda Kirby, the knowledge that Canada is closing in, and the home team must now negotiate the treacherous balance beam to finish with the silver medal.
So Canada's got its work cut out in third at gymnastics. We'll continue our coverage there. Next, it's the dive. Not a soul has left his or her seat, and that's understandable. Still to come, the final of the sprints. Look at the souvenir kiosk where business has been booming here on the promenade. There's not a soul. Sir, what's your hottest selling item? Up as we return to Scott Russell and Stella Ume.
All right, Ron, rotation number 4 in the women's team final. Into the fray steps 15-year-old Heather Purnell of Ottawa. Canada needs to score on the uneven bars to put pressure on second place England.
Heather is such an amazing young gymnast. She's got so much power, and she attacks every single event and every single skill without ever holding back. She moves into a toe shoot to transfer herself from lower to high bar. Heather setting up for her dismount. Full and back up. Oh, she leaves her shoulders down, takes a step on the landing, and puts her hands on the ground.
That will be a major deduction as Heather Purnell leads off for Canada with an 8-2-5. There's Kate Richardson's family as Kate now goes to the uneven bars and tries to score for the Canadians.
Normally, this is one of Kate's best events, strongest events. But she goes into this, can't place her hands, and she comes off.
Devastating for the Canadians and for Kate Richardson in terms of her hope for the individual all-around qualification. Now, recovery, and she'll repeat the skill.
She's willing to take the fall, but she will not take the loss of the skill, so she repeats it. I'll tell you what, Scott, it is so difficult to remount after you fell in the middle of your routine and come back with a strong performance. Plays mind games with you, shakes your confidence. But Kate seems to be handling this all very, very well. She comes in with a beautiful to catch of sky high. Setting up for a dismount. Stunning double layout, plants the landing.
Second time around, it was beautiful, but here was the problem.
See, she was taking up the skill. She didn't quite finish where she needed to be on top of the bar, and she tried to replace her hand, but she was too far over, and so she couldn't get her grip.
Well, this is a surprise. No score for Kate Richardson. And there's confusion on the part of her coach, and the national coach, David Kenwright, approaches the judges' table. And some kind of inquiry going on. It was revealed later that there was a computer error, and the final score for Kate Richardson was an 8-3, still devastatingly low. And so it was up to Vanessa Malash to salvage something for Canada on the bar. She's known for this routine.
Vanessa's in an unbelievably difficult situation. She's seen two of her teammates fall, and she knows she has to put in the performance of her life on this event. Beautiful mark-off. We saw Beth Tweddle do the exact same skill. Vanessa swings so nicely on this event. Sets up for a beautiful double front landing, sees it and plants it.
Well, she delivers, and David Kenwright knows it. 9-3-5 for Vanessa Malash. As for the Australians, uncatchable. They already have two clean routines on the balance beam, their final event. They need one more. Who better to provide it than the silver medalist from the last Commonwealth Games in Malaysia, Alana Slater.
Alana has gone through a lot in terms of a difficult time on this event. She's had to, and because of the new code and the change of the new code, she's had to insert at least 7 brand new skills into this routine, and she's only had 6 months to perfect them.
She is the most accomplished Australian gymnast in history, and there is another great routine, 9-1-2-5, as Australia locks up the gold medal. England to the beam, and trouble with Beth Tweddle early.
She loses her balance on this wolf full, doesn't fall off the beam, but has to take a major deduction for that.
Canada was watching as the English struggled, and here is another fall from Katie Lennon.
She sets up for her switch quarter. She wasn't square over the top of the beam. Looks like she didn't even fight for that landing.
So two falls. They could not afford another, and it was up to 17-year-old Nicola Willis. If she's off the beam, Canada can catch the silver medal. If she gets an 8-6 or better, England will get the silver.
She stuck that front salto nicely, but she had a few major wobbles in the early part of her routine. She's fighting with everything she has to stay on this beam.
Everybody in the house very nervous. This could mean the silver medal for England if she stays. She did stay on the beam. Now the Canadians watch in the hands of the judges. There's the result. She needed an 8-6. It's an 8-7, and by 1/10, England takes the silver medal. The Australians, no question, defend as gold medal champions. The Canadians narrowly third. Final results, Australia running away. England by 1/10 for the silver medal over Canada.
I was really hoping we could do the job for second place, so unfortunately we didn't do it. You know, I think that some of the kids were, reaching for the stars, and if you do that, you've got to hold on when they go by. You can't let them drop, so it's unfortunate, but that's life in competitive sports.
Aussie women rule in team gymnastics again at the Commonwealth Games. dominant. England wins the silver, Canada the bronze. The all-around competitions tomorrow at GMEX.
So for the second night in a row, England just edging out Canada, and that'll be the confrontation, Canada-England, as we turn our attention to squash, because Peter Nichols now playing for the English, and he'll likely meet Jonathan Power of Canada in the final. With that story, here's Karen Larson.